Hi everyone, this is Freddie with Superbike Unlimited, and I've got another update for you on the V4R Superbike project. Of course, you've just seen we just got done testing the carbon brakes, which I was a huge fan of. If you didn't see that, be sure to watch the last video. I took those to the track and got some laps in. And this weekend we're planning on racing on those. But with our braking system, there's one thing that's been noticeably absent since day one, and it's because of supply chain stuff that we've been dealing with in the last year as a result of COVID-19. And that was Staubli dry brake lines. We really wanted those. It makes it easier to service this stuff. They look super cool. And it's just been something we've put on all of our Superbikes for the last few years, and we haven't had them yet. So today that all changes. Here we have our rear brake line that we're gonna run, and you're gonna note that we did not run them straight off the caliper. That's for routing flexibility. In the rear and in the front, I still couldn't get the ones that run straight into the actual master cylinder, unfortunately. So for now, we just got to run these, but I don't mind this style in the front. It's something we've been doing for a long time. So we're basically, Texas got the fronts mocked up. He's bleeding them. And next we're going to put this on. We'll show you what it looks like in the front here. Navigate by a bunch of stuff. And here's our front end. And you can see what that looks like. It's really, honestly, there's just not anything that looks like that. It always sets off the braking system. And for those of you who don't know, basically what that means is that with this system, you can push down on this and go like that and fully disconnect the brake line, and it doesn't leak. You can then reconnect it, and of course then you will clean the brakes, that kind of thing. And then you can mount them back up, put them back on, and your lever is still there. So there's no loss whatsoever. You can do this. It's infinitely repeatable, and it just makes cleaning this stuff. Or if you ever have a crash and you destroy a part of your system, you can, if you have spares of these kinds of things. We don't have 17 of these sitting in the trailer, but Superbike teams will have several of these pre-bled, and if something happens, they can just throw a replacement on just like that. Don't have to bleed anything. It's ready to go. Alrighty, so this is all wrapped up. We've got the front done. Really happy with how that came out. I think it looks super clean and tidy. Here's the other side. Rear is done, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna make some changes to this because I basically miscalculated some stuff, and there's an angle there that I don't really like. Functionally, it's fine. I just don't like how it looks. So it's gonna be one of those things that we likely adjust. We'll probably switch from this style fitting to one that is integrated into the banjo, and it actually has an angle very similar to the one that we have in this line. And when I was coming up with this design, I basically thought this was going to be able to maintain a more natural, more of a straight line up into the mount back here, but it actually kind of screws it up if you straighten this out. So this is the best compromise. Again, fully functional. I just am a picky person. It's going to irritate me if I see that. So long term, we're gonna, when I get back, we'll redesign this and choose a different brake line design and use a different type of dry brake there. And we've gotten our fresh batch of Gandinis in for the super light quick change. We actually had an issue for some of you that bought some of these. You probably know the 44s and the 45s didn't quite fit right. They were just too tight. So those have been redesigned. This is the first batch of the brand new ones that we've gotten in, and they really fit perfectly now. It looks, like they were made to go together, which of course they were, but just looks really good. Excited about that. So this is what we've got, everything on here. We're gonna be heading out today to go to Barber, hopefully get some racing in, and we'll have some footage from that weekend. So that's a wrap. I'm sorry I haven't recorded a lot while we've been here this week. I've been working on the bike a lot because I've been really trying to find a setup that is working well. I felt good at the track day, but it's a totally different thing when you're racing people because the pace goes up and the setting of the bike changes. You have to adapt. So that's what I'm dealing with. And we tried a bunch of stuff this weekend, and I think finally today we found a pretty good balance. Still some areas I'd like to improve. The motorcycle, I need to just find that balance between traction control and basically I feel like I have too much intervention in a few areas because the bike, I can't steer the bike on the throttle as much as I need to, so it's making it harder to turn in some of the, like turn 3, Museum, and Charlotte's Web a bit. So I'm kind of running wide in a few areas, and I can tell that, well, I say I can tell, it seems like the bike just needs to have a little bit of an ability to steer with the rear tire because I'm missing that. I normally don't set up stuff to do a lot of that, and I think that's what this needs. But you got to see a race, you know. Obviously the other thing I need to work on is starts. I'm so bad at starting this motorcycle. My launches are just awful, so I'm just gonna have to get used to the dry clutch. It's kind of grabby, and the way we've got this thing set up, it's a little torquey and it's got a lot of wheelie in it, so I'm just gonna have to find a way to improve that. It's gonna be some electronic stuff and some practice, but hope you enjoyed that lap. Really enjoyed racing this thing this weekend. It's been tough, but I feel like we're getting there, and you know, it's really hot. Honestly, I'm not the best with that kind of thing. I also want to say I did get a chance to try out one of these SCX tires this weekend, and I do feel that, there you go, I do feel that the traction control settings that I had actually limited my ability to really use that tire because it was just too aggressive. So I'm gonna work on that a bit, but that is an amazing tire. It worked fine for a sprint race, didn't get smoked or anything like that. And it just felt amazing. Incredible grip. So I'm gonna have to totally change our traction control when we use that tire. So I think that's gonna be it. We'll probably do another recap at the shop, but hope you enjoyed watching that. Alrighty, so we're back from the track, and I've actually just gotten back from Laguna. So as soon as we got back from Barber and doing all that stuff, I basically packed up and headed off to Laguna because I've been doing some crew chiefing and some data acquisition support for the Super Sport class specifically. And I got Nolan Lampkin out there. It's been a lot of fun working with those guys, making steps and going faster every weekend, and it's a good program. So anyway, now I'm back at the shop, and we're getting ready to potentially go race this motorcycle again, and we're going to make some changes because I did spend some time looking at my data while I was out in California. I had some downtime, especially in the airplane and in the airports, and basically what I was seeing was a couple of things. I touched on that the traction control was kind of slowing me down a little bit, and it's tricky because at Barber sometimes the bike thinks that it has more lean angle than it does. There's a lot of banked corners, and there's a tremendous amount of grip. So we had areas where the traction control was essentially just over slowing the motorcycle, pulling too much power out of it. So what I've done is I've made some changes there. I've freed it up a little bit. And in addition to that, I didn't really like how some of the steering was. You can probably see watching my video that I look slow in certain corners. Specifically, I felt like I was really noticing it in the, well, hate to say it, pretty much around the whole track. So, but I really noticed it in the turn 2, turn 3 area, Charlotte's Web, the Museum corner, and then the back section of all the rights there before you get to the front straight. So that's most of the racetrack. And what I was feeling is just that the bike just wasn't steering in the way I wanted it to, and it was in turn affecting everything else because I wasn't able to brake the way I wanted to, and I wasn't able to, once I got in the corner and wanted to open the throttle, I wasn't able to use as much throttle as I wanted to kind of carve through the corner and get to the, to my apex and basically hold my line. So I found that I was running wide in a few areas, and at the same time not able to maintain the speed that I wanted to maintain, and I could see people pulling away from me. So I didn't like that, obviously. Bike felt really fast, lots of grip, but just that steering wasn't quite right. So what we've done is we've made some geometry changes. I'm trying a bunch of different stuff. We're actually shortening the whole bike a little bit. We're going to shorten the wheelbase by just at the swing arm, effectively reducing the overall length of our swing arm. And we're also going to try some stuff with the head angle / offset. So essentially what we can do, we have a lot of adjustment in this motorcycle, in that there's a bunch of different steering head cups that we can run that change the actual offset of the stem, which effectively moves the forks fore and aft, out, away, or further in. And we can also change the actual angle of the front end. So we can rake the front end out, or we can bring it back in. And lastly, we have offset in our triple clamp. This is another thing that effectively affects wheelbase a little bit, but it also affects the trail. So basically what I'm doing is just a bunch of different things to basically reduce our trail number a little bit. And it's just so funny because at the track day, like I mentioned, I thought it felt really good, but as soon as I started trying to go faster, it's like you start finding these things, and it goes to prove that, as people say, if you set up a bike to run, say a 25-second lap, and you're out there running a 30-second lap, a lot of times it feels like crap. So you really have to set the bike up around the pace. And we see it every weekend at the racetrack. We set up a bike, and as we go faster, we have to start changing everything. So anyway, that's what we've done. We've updated all that stuff. It's all ready to go. I've also changed gearing just because I did feel that might allow me to be a little more confident by freeing up the traction control, running something that's not quite so aggressive. I had a pretty short gearing on the motorcycle, so we're going to try something else there. And also just some other small things. We've updated the pot. I wanted to switch to one that had a quick release on the bottom, and I like that this has the protector on it to minimize junk getting into the sensor, specifically brake dust. It should make it last a bit longer, so it's pretty cool. I like the little protector. And this quick disconnect, what that'll essentially allow us to do is quick change style front end wheel changes. So we can pop this off, and then since this is a floating fender mount, it will enable us to basically just roll the wheel forward and pull the calipers out, and then we can put the wheel back in, don't have to take the calipers off. So makes that a lot simpler. So yeah, we're gonna just see what happens. Hopefully this is all, we're making a lot of changes, and sometimes that it's a gamble because we don't really know how that's going to affect everything. We have an idea, we have a concept, it's an educated guess, but sometimes things don't work out the way we expect. So we're going to hope for the best. Hopefully the thing works really well. We're going to a totally different racetrack that typically asks different setup of the motorcycle. I think in general this is going to be the right direction for everywhere, but the place that we're planning to go is Roebling Road, and there's nothing, it's basically you're turning the whole time. So definitely need a bike that steers there. And the last time I took this bike there, I really suffered with the steering, and it wasn't a good time. There was no video because I did not have fun, and I didn't want to document that. But lastly, you might also notice that we've pulled the tank cover off, and I'm also adjusting my clip-ons, and that's just an ergonomics thing. I mentioned before that I've struggled to find that comfort, and I just in general feel kind of stretched out on this bike. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, and it's been hard for me to kind of get the bend in my arms that I want. So we're going to try to do this so I can get a little more forward on the motorcycle, bring the bars back, and allow me to kind of get that more kind of over the front feeling on the bike. And I'm hoping that helps, because I can tell that's something else that's kind of holding me back on this thing, and that will make the bike steer better. In general, when your ergos are all screwed up and you're not comfortable, it actually makes the bike not turn well. So we're gonna do all this stuff and hope for the best. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything for now. I don't really have any other major changes, so we're just gonna do all this stuff. We had to put the quiet exhaust back on. You probably noticed that's just for the track that we're going to. But otherwise, we've summarized everything here. And hopefully our new TC, our new chassis, and our new ergos equals a faster lap time and more comfort for me on the motorcycle. But I think that's going to cover it for this time. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. We enjoy making them. And thanks to you guys, by the way. I got to meet some people at Laguna that watch the channel. Thanks very much for coming up to me and saying hello. Please don't feel, awkward or anything like that. I appreciate that you guys are watching these, and I like meeting you guys. So thanks for those that came up to me and said that you watched them. It helps us stay motivated to make these things. And hopefully we get some cool footage for this weekend and can go fast on this thing. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, be sure to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.